In the summer of 2005, we produced the first in our Clagging series, 90 minutes of diesel locos doing steam engine impressions. Now, a real thing, steam in all its dirty glory on both the Mainline and the heritage railways. Unlike our class profiles, I don't plan on delivering an intensive history lesson. Instead, I'm going to let locos do most of the talking as they demonstrate their environmental credentials across the length and breadth of Britain. And this, in case you're not from the south, is the last survivor of the 01 class, doing what comes naturally at its Bluebell Railway home. Love 'em or hate 'em, you can't ignore 'em, because, for obvious reasons, there's an awful lot of survivors, in all sizes. Here's the Class 2 tender version at the GCR Gala in 2005. Closely followed by Class 4, making awfully heavy weather of a single coach at Locomotive as it sets out for Portmaddock. The Donkey pulls away from Dawlish in 2000 with its regular Type 4 tank. While approaching Quorn at speed for a mail pickup is Standard 5 73129. After all the slipping and sliding, 76079 makes a much better job of the next day's run to Portmaddock. The biggest beast at Burrs, a 9F, shows off its passenger capability at the January 2006 East Lancs Gala. .73096 works a London Victoria to Stratford Cathedral's Express through Wilmcote in 2004 with stock to match. Another Type 4 tank signs up for Santa at the Bluebell in December 2005. Meanwhile, 76079 is still managing to cope with the McCundless to Portmaddock excursions. 73129 at the GCR again, this time creating some atmosphere on departure from Loughborough. "75027 emerges from Sharpthorne Tunnel on the Bluebell in 2006 and demonstrates its distinctive hooter. A Scottish Type 4 tank pays a visit to the GCR and stretches its legs at the 2006 Winter Gala. "76079 meanwhile escapes from the Cambrian coast to take on the Gromont to Whitby branch, replacing an unavailable 61264. Meanwhile, 80098 has reached the foot of Dainton with the Dawlish donkey. And that, some will say, is quite enough standards for now. Ah yes, 460s. This could go on for some time. I mean, where do you start? Well, with the Great Western, of course. A manor, to be precise, at the Winter 2005 GCR Gala. Coming up, rather fast, a Black Five at Elsingham with a Cathedrals Express from Liverpool Street, heading for a carol concert in Ely. And why not? Next up, B1 61264 running as 61244, so probably a photographic charter. This next one will bring a tear to your eye. Nunney Castle barking through Teignmouth Station with the Torbay Castle Charter from Paddington to Kingswear in 2001. While the lovely Leander has been entrusted with a Shakespeare Express from Shirley to Snow Hill via Stratford in the summer of 2005. 45231 can blaze more carol singers, this time to Stratford-on-Avon from Alton in Mid-Hantsland. And while all that's been going on, the Torbay Castle has turned around in readiness for another blast along the sea wall in truly lovely high summer weather. Meanwhile, 61264 has reached County March Summit with its pretend numbers. More castle action as Earl Bathurst struggles up Dainton in March 2005 with the Mayflower Charter from Paddington to Plymouth, as you'd expect. And Easter lunch provided Rood Ashton Hall with this circular meander around the Midlands in March 2005. The aptly named Fantasy Express from Birmingham to Didcot lasts through Harbury with Alton Hall in H. Potter colours. That was a close one. And coming up even faster, 61264 as 61264, working the Lace Maker from London Marylebone to Nottingham via Tyseley. A Black 5 stands in for Rood Ashton Hall on a Tyseley to Ely excursion and frightens the ducks at Peterborough. Obviously GWR fans. The Shakespeare Express and Bullring Express, you work out the difference, approaches Widney Manor with Leander providing the amps. Oh, sorry, this is a steam programme, isn't it? The West Somerset Meanderer picks up King Power in March 2005. Edward I blasts round the curve at Standish while heading for Minehead from Chester. Earl Bathurst has a crack at Whiteball with the Mayflower at slightly more speed than its earlier attempt on Dayton. Sorry about the sound effects in the background. Gorgeous. And here's 61264 again, this time with the Yorkshire Coast Express, which it worked from York to Scarborough in April 2005. Meanwhile, back at the GCR Winter Gala, 45231 takes a break from carol singing for a canter through Quorn. Smallheath Birmingham and the Chester Flyer, not noticeably flying yet, as Kinlet Hall gets to grips with the following tonnage. The Loco worked the train from Tyseley to Chester via Walsall. And now a king on the cathedrals. Edward I races through Culham near Oxford in May 2005 with an Alton starter bound for Worcester. The Blackpool Illuminations Express does battle with Copy Pip behind the awfully game 61264. Steam to spare, it seems. .6024 on home ground again at Hatton with a Taunton to Stratford excursion that worked out and back via Bristol, Swindon and Oxford, pretty much as you'd expect. moonlit hall again, whispering towards the camera with the Yorkshireman charter from Burton to York in July 2005. Meanwhile, back at Small Heath, 45305 makes its second appearance with a Tyseley to York excursion in December 2005, and this is impressive stuff on a very wet rail. The B1 again, this time with the Buxton Spa Express from Kettering to Buxton, which it took charge of at Derby. Out of coal. Let's go back and see how 45231 is getting on at the GCR. 6024 provides the full echo effect at Standish in March 2005 while working the West Somerset Meanderer to, well, you can work it out for yourself. Rude Ashton Hall's third entry is on a Dorridge to York excursion in April 2005, and very rousing it is too. "45212 crosses the frozen North York Moors in December 2005. Nothing more to say. Harry Potter Hall passes Penrith in February 2003 while heading for another session in the celluloid spotlight. Meanwhile, Pitchford Hall takes to the main line on what's thought to be its first loaded test run from Snow Hill to Stratford and back. Yep, that all seems to be working. Give it a ticket. Freezing turns to freezing fog as 45212 pluckily continues its crossing of the moors. Rude Ashton, the busy little beast, picks up a private charter from Marylebone to Snow Hill in April 2003 and provokes a respectful retreat on the platform. .45305 returns to the GCR for the January 2005 gala and keeps in trim with this robust departure from Loughborough. And finally, 460Ys, 61264 as 61244 straying steel again, rousing the echoes at Karor. What a cracker! Sorry about the title, our producer thought of it. This section could go on for several days too, but it won't because not even DVDs are infinite. This meaty 280 is first up, crossing the frozen moors on the climb to Goathland. Very quiet, isn't it? A photographic charter on the Lakeside and Haverthwaite Railway, entrusted to a chunky Stanier Class 4 in November 2005. The historic Caledonian 044 tank, formerly BR 55189, rounds the curve at Bowness with some authentic looking coaches in tow, and not a million miles from its birthplace at St Rollots. While the West Somerset opts for a pair of 060 panniers to shift this bunch of visitors in March 2003. One of our cameramen comes over all atmospheric at the Bluebell as 41312 runs round a Golden Arrow luncheon train after arrival at Horsted Keynes. Yes, I know there isn't much sound. You're meant to be appreciating the artistry of the pictures. A slightly more animated Churchwood tank from the 1927 batch heads bunker first through Blue Anchor at one of the West Somerset galas. The former Taff Vale Railway Class 02 is a long way from home at Keighley in 2004. 1899 vintage, this one. Fairburn Class 4 264 works the photographic charter over the Lakeside Railway in November 2005. Closely followed by Joanne, the sole survivor of the J72 class, doing its stuff on the moors. Didn't this used to be the station pilot at Newcastle? Cowley Tanks day out that started in brilliant sunshine deteriorated into this. I suppose it's quite authentic for Scotland in summer, but I wouldn't let something so valuable out in this weather. Coming up, an immensely cute 060 pannier with auto coach on the West Somerset. No, we haven't made up either of these names. This is Stagshaw at Bobgins, or possibly Boggins, on the Tanfield Railway, and very claggy it is too. If it looks unfamiliar, this is a Newcastle product from Hawthorne and Leslie in 1927. Next up, Great Western on Great Central. Another of the interminable 5100 class passes Quorn. The Moors opts for something a little chunkier, a Churchwood 280, first conceived in 1910, and I thought it was only terriers that qualify for centenaries. The LSWR M7s can be traced back to the 19th century, but this one is from the 1925 batch. I'd quite like to see one of these shunting in Clapham Yard again. Should only cost about £100 to satisfy the health and safety busybodies. Next, an asthma attack from 41312 on the Bluebell. Closely followed by 42085 and its photo charter. classic GW on home territory as 5786 negotiates some ancient Devon track work in 2005. And finally, in the tank department, a stonking shot of former LH&JC number 29 slogging up the bank out of Gromont in typical Moors weather. Our display of tenderness begins with a Gresley K1 on its old stamping ground in the West Highlands. (42968) climbs Erdington Bank on home ground at the Severn Valley in October 2004. Closely followed by a late model J27 exercising its lungs on the climb to Goathland. Coming up, a rousing performance from the veteran city of Truro as it storms Dainton on a Bristol to Plymouth excursion in 2004. Slightly more sedate, much more wobbly, Furness Railway number 20 approaches Pickering. Green Arrow pulls out of York with the Scarborough Flyer in January 2002 and fails to quell all the chattering in the background. But a respectful silence greets the passing of this Ivat 260 on the Strathspey Railway. Before its Highland adventure you saw a few minutes ago, the K1 undertook this heavyweight job on the North York Moors. The first appearance in this programme of an 8F features 48151 on the charter working to Ravenglass, which the Loco tied onto at Carnforth. Yes, it is a bit quiet, so I'll tell you about the next shot. The L&Y's 957 approaches Oakworth during the 2006 KWVR Winter Gala. In similar mode, 901 in LNER guise at the Moors Spring Gala as long ago as 1991. Gordon the Blue engine, formerly of Longmore, makes warlike noises on the Severn Valley the same year. While Dame Vera Lynn, of similar pedigree, sings for us on the moors in May 91. Coming up, City of Truro on the Shakespeare Express in 2004, and I just hope I'm this lively when I'm 101. Green Arrow becomes Geordie Arrow for this charter working from London to Newcastle in 2001, which the V2 took over at York. The Stania 260 you saw at the Severn Valley a few minutes ago makes a short visit to the KWVR's Winter 2006 Gala. .005 on the moors again, with a rake of Gresleys in tow. Nice. .2392 meanwhile migrates to the Weardale Railway to see if it's any flatter. City of Truro, which appears to be on some sort of vitamin supplement. You saw this beautiful engine at the very beginning, but it's worth at least one more look. Coming to a TV drama series near you very soon. Next up, Green Arrow again, making an almighty racket on the 1 in 49 out of Gromont with some heavyweight Pullmans in tow. Like the B1, the K1 changes numbers too. 62005 runs round the shore of Lockhart as 62022. Why? Well, to keep the photographers happy, I expect. Furness number 20 puts in a second appearance on the moors in 2000. I've looked this up since the last shot. Apparently it's one of 4 surviving Furness locos and it's normally based at the Lakeside and Haverthwaite Railway. Amid great excitement, U1 class number 1638 steamed for the first time in 42 years in February 2006, after £120,000 of restoration work over 12 years and an awful lot of help from the Mansell Society. Well worth the effort, I'd say. City of Truro winds up the tenders with a slightly more sedate working at the KWVR's Autumn Gala in 2005. Our double-header section kicks off with City of Truro. Yes, I know, any excuse. Partnering Standard Tank 80002 at the same Autumn Gala. 45305 and Leander paired up in top and tail fashion in June 2005 to work an endless series of shuttles based around Melton Mowbray. This is the opening leg originating from Tyseley. And this, some say, was the Mainline steam highlight of 2003. K1 and B1 tackled BTEC with the empty stock bound for Fort William and the West Highlands. The frequent pairing of Ian Riley's Pocket Rocket and 45407 passes Appleby on the residential charter from Crewe to Hellifield in June 2001, with 76079 running as 022. And here, running as itself in tandem with 61264 on the North York Moors 4 years later. The J27 and number 29 pair up for no other reason than that it can be done, as far as I can see. So the lovely rail blue coaches hardly spoil the authenticity. And if you enjoyed the earlier shot of the K1 and B1, here they are again during their 2005 transit move to the West Highlands. LMS Class 2 and Standard Class 4 spot the similarities at the Keighley Autumn Gala in 2003. Next up, a pair of holes, smoking each other out on Shap, with a Crewe to Carlisle charter working from May 2002. And those two again, proving that what can be done once can be done twice. To prove the frequent pairing claim, here's 76079 and 45407 twice more. The Citadel Express heads for Carlisle in May 2001. Closely followed, well, 4 years later, by the Christmas Dalesman, which reached Carlisle via the S&C. Now here's another quirky pairing, this time on the Weardale Railway. Which was really only a pause to give the Ian Riley pairing time to draw breath before this, the 30th Anniversary Limited to Edinburgh in October 2001, with the Standard acting as banker over the West Coast bumpy bits. That was Shap, and this is Beatuk. More playing trains at another autumn gala, and the unlikely pairing of the K1 with an Ivet Class 2. The return run of the Christmas Dalesman crossing Garsdale Viaduct, a job the Riley duo picked up because of the non-availability of Princess Elizabeth. Yet, nonetheless, managed to attract plenty of right-side cameramen. I suppose there's some logic in pairing up former Southern locos, even if one is Brighton and one is Ashford. But shouldn't they be in Southern, or dare I say it, BR livery? The only way to top a pair of halls on the main line is a pair of castles on the main line. So here they are, substituting for the halls on 2003's Devonian, before 5051 became tired and emotional at Plymouth and sent its partner back alone. .45407 finds a new partner in the shape of 45110 on the Laird of Stranraer charter from the year 2000. And here's another unlikely pairing, the former L&Y 957 and a Stania 260 at the 2006 Keighley Winter Gala. While 2 months earlier, the Southern S15 receives rear-end assistance from number 29 on the moors. Odd? Yes, but it looks and sounds great, and it's a perfect way to end the doubling up section. And now a short section of freight recreations on the private railways, starting with this rather lovely former Great Eastern J15 at Beamish. closely followed by former L&Y Class 25, 52044 in similar mode on the Worth Valley. A huge leap in size, weight and wheel quantity on the GCR as a 9F works the wind cutter set at the 2005 Autumn Gala. .52044 does a curtain call at Oakworth with the same train as in the shot you saw 2 minutes ago. Yes, we like the cut of its jib. Earlstone Manor in lovely black livery shows it's no slouch on the wagons either, and Woodthorpe on the GCR. Now when I first saw this, I immediately thought pool in the 1960s, until I realised it's Yorkshire. A stand of 4 gets routed to the spot at Keighley. Apparently, we're told, because it's being driven by a diesel driver. And perhaps I ought to tell you you've got time for a cup of tea yet before this gets going. Hooray! Right, that's quite enough of that. Let's go back and see how the 9F's getting on. During its winter holiday on the KWVR, 42968 also tried its hand on the wagons and found them slightly harder work than the coaches. And now, a coal-ball double-header on the Tanfield Railway in February 2006. Ah yes, ROD Class A4s. You can write a book about these and their worldwide dispersal. This is one of the former Great Central engines that survived into BR ownership, sounding a little wheezy, it has to be said, at the GCR's Autumn Gala in 2005. At last a Ginty, continuing its lifelong devotion to unglamorous work on the Worth Valley in 2006. Shot number 2 of 63601, sniffing its way through Woodthorpe again. At Class 2 on the Worth Valley Freight in October 2005. Now this little chap is wonderfully historic if you're into southern locos. The former LSWR dock shunter approaches Horsted Keynes at the Bluebell end of the Ardingly branch. The Coal-Ball saddle tank duo make a second appearance, looking remarkably like 00 and HO scales. But we round off with this LNW and Midland pairing at Oakworth during the autumn 2005 gala. We've saved the best till last, of course, and we kick off with the magnificent Duke behaving like a hooligan while substituting for Princess Elizabeth on the Citadel Express. 4472 heads onto foreign territory with the Newton Abbott 2000. I'm still not sure about those deflectors with apple green, you know. And here's the first spam can after only 71 minutes, whispering up to birds during a visit to the East Lancs. Ever so quiet, isn't it? And at last, after 2 substitutions, Princess Elizabeth. The Cumbrian Mountain Express toots along the S&C. Closely followed by Union of South Africa on the same train, deputising for 6201. The Duchess on the Royal train from Hellifield to Carlisle, looking and sounding great. Nothing more to say. And here's another whispering Battle of Britain, apparently making very light work of the 1 in 49 out of Grosmont. The Duke takes a turn with the Ely Carol Singers on the Cathedrals Express and manages to obliterate itself after a water stop at Waterman-Stone. And after the carols, Christmas lunch with Scotsmen on a circular tour from Dorridge to Dorridge via Leicester and Loughborough. Tangmere comes home to work one of its many VSOE specials from London Victoria. This one's heading for Bath in May 2005. Coming up, the ill-fated Blue Peter on the GS Drury Memorial train from York to Preston, April 2000. Canadian Pacific, evoking memories of the Pines Express at Leamington, with a charter working from Birmingham to Poole. A second and much more atmospheric shot of 4472 on its Christmas lunch excursion in 2005. Right, wake up at the back, it's the Duke again on the Citadel Express, demonstrating that the earlier shot was perfectly normal behaviour. In complete contrast, Tangmere doing its non-mainline thing on the East Lancs in March 2003. The rare sight of an A4 on the Pullmans as number 9 heads for Stratford-on-Avon with more rich people. Closely followed by number 7 in blue on the North York Moors back in 1999. Oh, watch out, here it comes again. This is the Dalesman heading for Crewe, ultimately in September 2005. (6201's inaugural mainline run from Preston to Carlisle and back in May 2002. The train, the Citadel Express again, originated from Harrow, 50 years after, well, you know what. Tangmere making a noise for a change in full Golden Arrow regalia, heading for Penzance with the Cornishman in August 2005. Number 9 heads for Stratford again, this time on the Cathedrals Express working from Alton, deputising for number 19 and 6201, both of which were unavailable. Scotsman takes a party of Solihull London punters to Didcot in October 2005. Duchess of Sutherland stands in for Green Arrow on the Hadrian and heads for York, via Morpeth of all places. And just for the hell of it, a second shot of the Duke on the Dalesman, beating up the West Coast Main Line at Clifton. A slightly more subdued performance from Canadian Pacific on the West Somerset during the railway's Autumn 2005 Steam Gala. The Duchess storms through Penman Mar in June 2005, with the Welsh Dragon returning from Holyhead. While Scotsman is taking the Solihull Diners back home. Princess Elizabeth broadside at Petrel Green in May 2002. Sorry, I still think those cylinders are in the wrong place. A second turn on the Cathedrals Express for number 9. And a final look at the Duke, doing much the same as before on the Dalesman. What a corker! We leave you though with the new love in this cameraman's life, but don't tell his wife. The shimmering malachite of Blackmore Vale wreathed in steam in the wilds of Sussex. Yep, I'd ask that out myself.